so I don't forget it.
By the way, Brian, what is your system for challenges? Who's your eye in the sky, and how does all that work?
Well, the system starts, during the week. I spend a lot of time, or a good amount of time, on, challenges throughout the league, and the way things are being called. And then we've got a team of guys up in the booth who, have obviously the video footage and are taking a look at it and kind of help me out as far as the challenges are concerned, rules, etc. So we've got a pretty good system, I feel, and hopefully, as we get into more games, and look, at the end of the day, we just want to make the best call and do what's best for the team. But there's obviously a long process that goes into it, and we just try to do everything possible to get all the right information and make the best call.
Do you have any update on Rashad Jones or Albert Wilson? Do you expect either to practice today?
Expect to see both of those guys at practice today. Again, they've both worked extremely hard to get back. And we'll see. They're still, we're taking it day to day. They've been out for a little bit, so look, from a conditioning standpoint, from a communication standpoint, from a technique fundamental standpoint, there may be a little bit of rust, but we try to knock some of that off, hopefully in practice.
Brian, regarding social media, I know it can be kind of bitter out there. Do you talk to your players about that, and have you talked to them maybe since the second week or last week about don't get caught up in it or anything along those lines?
Well, I'm not on really social media, so I don't really know what's out there. But again, I told my guys, really the only thing that matters and is important is what happens on the practice field and what's going on in our meetings and our walkthroughs. Good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter what anyone else is saying. I think individually, we need to come in, try to improve, get better, and nothing that anyone says on social or outside of our building, it doesn't, it really shouldn't affect anything we're doing in the building. So that's kind of my message really on a daily basis is, really a message to myself. It doesn't matter good, bad, or indifferent. We're always trying to improve and get better. So that's really the focus and the message.
Like every day you try to present to us, and I'm assuming to your players, the same tone, the same attitude, the same approach. Can you talk about how you're managing emotional stability?
Well, my entire life I've been, I was taught, never get too high, never get too low. You want to stay even. So I've had some highs, I've had some lows, and I always stay the same. I think that's the way you have to approach really anything, because you're going to face adversity, you're going to have success, and you don't want to let success get to your head, and you don't want to let adversity get you in the tank. So I guess that's how I handle emotional or whatever. The emotional part of the game, maybe that makes me emotionless, but I just try to stay even.
When do you process the pain of losing? When is your time to process that and get in touch?
It's after the game, and then the day after we make the corrections, and then we move on. That's the beauty of the game, is we have another opportunity on Sunday against a really good opponent. We get to come back to practice today and try to find a way to win a game. So I've moved on from, I move on from wins and I move on from losses very quickly. So I think when you dwell on either, you kind of get stuck. So I'm always about moving forward and improving, and that's really the message I give to the team. And that's not just for football. That's look, everyone's going to face some adversity and hard times, and hopefully a lot of successes as well. How you handle both kind of speaks to the kind of person you are. And people handle success the wrong ways as well. So that's really my message. I just try to stay even, always.
Brian, how much of an immediate impact do you expect or do you want to get out of Andrew Donald?
Well, immediate? Well, let's see if we can get him into practice, get him lined up. we'll just see how much he can. Look, there's a lot to digest in a little bit of time. If we can do one or two things, or if he can do a lot, then he may be able to help us. But I think this being day one for him, we just need to get him in the huddle, get him aligned, let him know his assignment. Be in pads today, see if he can execute some base fundamentals, technique, and then take it from there.
And how are the linebackers playing so far?
I would say, as a unit, obviously everything can be better. I think from an alignment, assignment, and execution standpoint, there's been some good plays. You see speed and athleticism out of Baker, Sam, Raekwon, guys playing downhill, guys playing hard, guys getting off blocks and making tackles. We just need to see more of that, more consistently. I think as a unit, we're playing okay. It could be better. I would say each one of those guys feels the same way. And we need to do it over 60 minutes. I think there's been spurts of good play. And I think that's, you could say that about really every unit on our team. Spurts of good play, but we just need to do it more consistently and really over the course of a 60-minute ball game. Not a quarter, not a half, not, not 3 quarters, but 60 minutes. So that's been, another message to the team. And hopefully we get that, but it starts in practice.
Run fits okay?
The run fits, there's a lot that goes into it. Setting the edge, run fits inside. Inside, are we playing the blocks the way, we practice them? I wouldn't put it solely on the linebackers. Again, it's a defensive, it's a team defense and a defensive effort. And again, if one guy's out of his gap, there's a problem. And it's really, when you got 11 guys and you're expecting one guy to be in his gap and he's not, you go to your gap, and that's how big plays happen. So when you're playing team defense, you're expecting everybody to do their job. One guy doesn't, and we have problems in the run game, in the pass game. Same thing offensively, same thing in the kicking game. So we just got to shore that up. And then guys, got to defeat a block and make a tackle. So.
Brian, can you talk about Phillip Rivers a little bit and the challenges that he poses for your defense?
Again, he's one of the top quarterbacks in this league. He's done it for a long, long time. Very cerebral, great arm. Can get them in and out of plays. Will get them into the best play. There's definitely a perfect play mentality to him and to that team. They do a really good job from that standpoint. Get up to the line of scrimmage quickly. He surveys the defense, looks at it, says there's a weak spot, puts him in a play, and tries to attack it. So that's hard to defend. They got a lot of good skill players. Obviously, Keenan Allen, Eckler, those guys have been very productive this year. But they've got a lot of good skill players, and obviously it starts with Phillip Rivers. Good O-line. This is a good team. Another good quarterback, and we've got to do a good job, really, as a total defense, from stopping a run to rushing a passer to doing a good job in our zone coverage and playing with good leverage in man coverage, and with our picks and games and our pass rush, you got to execute it correctly. Run fits, as we mentioned, everything's got to be spot on, and they are going to stress us. That's what Rivers does. He does a good job putting his team in positions to stress the opponent, and they've played well this year offensively. It's a good team.
The first red zone drive, Rosen looked over to the sideline and kind of signaled to you guys that he wanted to go for it on 4th down. Do you like it, or do you encourage Josh having that confidence in himself, that confidence in his teammates to want to go for it on 4th down while it might not be?
I love it. Look, we want competitive players. We've got a group of competitive guys. We just didn't feel like that was the right call in that situation. So, we kind of had a different plan of action, and we moved forward to field goal. But the fact that he wanted to go for it, I like that. I want our players to want to go out there and put it in the end zone. We need to do more of that for sure.
What did you notice about how Josh reacted, communicated, interacted after some things went wrong?
I thought he was good on the sideline. I thought he I thought his interaction with his teammates, receivers, line, tight ends, backs, very positive. Trying to get guys going. I think he saw, just like a lot of guys saw, there was some plays to be made in that game, and that's good as we move forward into the this week in particular. That hopefully there's a little some confidence that we can get open, we can move the ball offensively, and there's some plays out there that we could have made and that we did make, and hopefully as we move forward we continue to improve and do that more consistently. I think that's kind of for all of us, coaches, players. That's what we're looking for.
Frustration in Xavier Howard that might have affected his play, and if so, have you talked to him about that?
Repeat that.
Did you see during the game any frustration in Xavier?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, look, he played against a good player. I think when you have a tough play, yeah, there's always frustration. Xavier's very resilient. This kid's been through a lot. He's a tough kid. This is very resilient. So he definitely has a next play mentality. So what you may see is a frustration on one play, it's gone the next, and that's really what you want out of corners. Specifically, one as talented as he is. So that is not to me anything that's a red flag or anything. I think Xavier will be good to go. He's a good player, and I think he'll be ready to go.
Well, since we've asked you about Tankersley or Kandiche, are you confident that both those guys will play at some point in 2019?
Well, I know they're both working, to get back. They're working extremely hard, both guys. As far as the timetable, I mean, they're working to get back. Hopefully, if that's if they're healthy to get back into practice, then I'd love to have them. But right now they're I'm not even sure of the exact date. I mean, I think it's October, somewhere in October, where they're eligible to come back. Actually, it's October 14th. So we'll see. We'll see. If they're ready, then great. If not, then we just continue to rehab, and hopefully they're back sooner than later.
Are we going to see Jesse Davis working today?
Jesse, thankfully felt a lot better than Monday and these last couple of days. So we're going to take this thing day to day and see how he's feeling, and he's as tough as they come. So if he can get out there, he will. I know that. He's one of those guys you almost he'll try to get out there. So I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want out of your offensive line, out of leaders on your team, and he's certainly that.
Thanks, guys.